and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival. I'm your host, Carol Kahn, and we're coming to you live from the Sedona Rouge Hotel. Our sponsors today are Black Magic Design, Sedona Rouge, Suddenlink Cable, and Sedona Media Services. So I'm hoping I got all of those right. And I would like to welcome to our media room, Xander Berkeley. Welcome.
Nice to be here. Did you
Welcome.
say Xander?
What, no.
I was saying, no eggs, just Xander.
Xander. No eggs. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention.
Yeah, I like to start out just busting the chops as I was about to interview me. It's a good way to break the ice.
Well, I know that you're, is this your first time in Sedona?
It's my first time in actual Sedona. My wife and I traveled across country when we first met, and we were staying in some place, Pines, that I recall having a view down onto Sedona, and it's such a striking visual. I'm wearing my hat in honor of its russet tones, the buttes and all, and that stayed in my mind. But I would know I would remember if I had actually been here, because they're so incredible. It's just so extraordinary. And then the whole vortex thing. I mean, I'm in the vortex now.
You are right here.
It's quartz
circling.
Crystals and the iron oxide. Feeling it.
You are, but I've seen some photographs of you hiking, so you did take advantage of being here in Sedona. And
it took advantage of me.
Oh, did. And also, I understand that you're a pretty big Twitter person. Twitterer. Is that correct?
I don't know. I was dragged kicking and screaming into the realm, but if you're going to do a thing, you might as well try and do it with some degree of aplomb. And I've tried to sort of use it for sort of more my comedic side. The Walking Dead, the character is so unctuous and despicable and dreadful in so many ways that my one get for the character is that he does get to bring levity and humor to otherwise very dire, dreary, and horrific circumstances on the show, and offsets some of it and leavens it. Mm-hmm. And so I have a bit of banter, and I'm much more drawn in general, though, to Instagram, because I'm a painter. Mm-hmm. I like to take photographs, and I like to manipulate. I love Instagram's options of their little apps for filtering and framing and tweaking just a little bit, sort of to play around with colors and intensify these small images and make them more. And I think I'm demonstrating how a picture will be better oftentimes than 1,000 words.
And now it's my turn.
That's why I like the Instagram.
Well, one of the things, I did look at some of your artwork, and I have noticed that you paint a lot of faces. Is there any particular reason that you do that as far as your work goes?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not that it's necessarily a willing choice, it's a compulsion a little bit. But it's the same fascination with human psychology that drew me to studying people in order to portray them in the telling of stories. It's an endless fascination with human beings, and I worked a lot. I chose a lot of my films early on. Remember James Mason? Mm-hmm. Well, when I was a kid, I saw some interview with him where he said that he chose 3 films a year as a movie star, and I made that my model for as a character guy, which was he did one for the commerce, one for the art, and one for the location. And the commerce being something money-wise that would affect pop culture and be seen by everybody. One for the art that would be something that was just a beautiful representation of artistic merit, and one for the location, just to get to explore a new place on planet Earth and have a justification for being there other than being a tourist. You're actually there working with and among the people who are from there. Mm-hmm. And that was, as a Sagittarian, I was always drawn to travel and to interacting and meeting people from all over. And a lot of times you'd be sent to countries where they didn't speak English. And a lot of times playing bad guys, you'd have many days off before being brought in to do your thing. And so I would go exploring in different places and different cultures and get my art supplies early on in the trip, and where the artists were, I felt more comfortable by and large. And you, in any city, in any part of the country, and in almost any country, if you go to the train station, you find out where the oldest train station is. You're often going to find out where the artists are, where the older brick buildings and the older structures, where there's the center of town, and it's a lot of times it's a little more run down, but it's also more affordable, but it has the most character in the buildings. And there's going to be an art store near there, and you can get your drawing materials, and you can find a cool cafe. You can sit and draw all day long and study people. And you have a reason, a justification for looking at people. And if you do get caught, you just rip the page out of your drawing book and give it to them as a gift, as a reconciliation for your invasion of their privacy. And then I have, hundreds of books of documentation of different people and their characteristics, with notes in the margins about their dialogue, if they spoke English, what they wore, what their mannerisms were if they didn't. And that has fed me as a storyteller and prepared me to ultimately direct, which is the new direction I'm moving in. And certainly it's fueled my interest in every character I play. I've used something that I've observed from those. And the paintings are all composites of people that I've studied, and types, and the repetition of physical types that I see in every culture. There's 3 types: ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph in the human race. Really skinny, medium, stocky, and bigger boned people. And you see that in every race and every culture. And then you see the breakdown from there into more 12 and into 28 different types. And it's always fascinating to see those recurring in different races. And I can pretty much read a face and know a lot about a person at this point just by looking at the structure of their face. And I'm endlessly fascinated in that.
No, that is very fascinating. You come from a family, your dad was a painter, and also your wife, Sarah, is a photographer. And so there's art around you, not only just in the performing arts, but you also have arts in a different medium that's around you a lot.
Yeah, and they all feed and I think nurture one another.
I love the story too. I know that in this film, the Maestro that you're in, Sarah is also in it, and you met her during the filming of 24, which is one of my favorite shows. So I remember that, but that was where you first met her.
17 years ago.
Way back when.
March 21st.
And she was like just new, I think, right? She was new to 24. She just pretty much.
We were all new to 24. It was the pilot the day we met. But she was new to Los Angeles. She was living in New York at the time, and had a couple of really successful commercials that had been running, had been doing theater, and had gotten into it sort of late. As you mentioned, she was a photographer prior to that. But she's just an extraordinary actor, and I remember the first scene, I remember meeting her and then doing and being impressed. We met in the mirror of the makeup trailer, locked eyes. Had a lovely exchange. I knew the makeup artists from jobs past, and we all had friendly banter in the makeup trailer. It's where we all bond in the mirrors. And then I got shot with some kind of a dart gun that Jack Kiefer happened to have on him. I forget why. I think I've joked with Joel Surnow, the creator of the show, like, why did he have to shoot you with the trank gun? I don't know what that was about. But it was really cool for me because I was knocked out, passed out on the couch, and the two of them had a scene together, and I just was listening to her voice and going, damn, this girl can act. Because you got it or you don't, this natural thing. Some people work at it forever, and it's just, they can get incredibly skilled, technical bag of tricks, but they don't have that, whatever it is, that magical just ability to transport human naturalism. It's a very specific thing, and I just, oh man, she's got it. and then we continue to exchange beyond that. And we've got our own 2 little spin-offs of 24. You know, the real spin-offs of 24.
The real spin-offs.
Olwen and Rowan, the daughters.
How old are they?
11 and 8 in a couple of weeks.
And are they following in the footsteps of their parents?
They're already flying way over our heads in all directions. They're pretty extraordinary kids, and they'll do what we do, and then they'll do 10 more things 10 times better.
Well, I just want to open it up to the media for some questions.
Forever etched in my memory is your death on Air Force One, right?
Yeah.
What was it like to be a skimming rock?
Well, my I think most amusing anecdotal tale about that was when Wolfgang Petersen, who we just all loved dearly, and he's still alive, Michael Ballhaus, his German compatriot, the cinematographer, the brilliant cinematographer who did all the Fassbender's movies, and not Michael Fassbender, but Fassbender the great, in the 70s, just an icon of art films. And I'd gotten to work with Michael Ballhaus on Fabulous Baker Boys, and there was this village, atmospheric video village that really did feel like a village. And in the morning, you know, Wolfgang would say good morning, Uncle Wolfie. Say good morning, Mr. Ballhaus. Yes. And then everybody would come in and say, good morning, Uncle Wolfie. And he just had this incredibly infectious quality. And there was one scene that I think Gary Oldman and Paul Guilfoyle and Bill Macy and myself were in this one section, I think maybe Wendy, and Harrison was over in this part of the room. It was one of these big conference room sequences and lots of angles, and Wolfgang tiptoed over and he said, gentlemen, as you are all very well respected actors, I feel I must tell you in this particular shot, you are all very small in the frame. So it will not require such very good acting. Then they walked away. And only if you've been an actor, only if you've been sweating it out for hours and hours and hours without knowing what the frame was, whether there was a long angle lens that was like this close on you or not, and you've been emoting unnecessarily for hours, and were fully drained. And say, oh no, you weren't actually in any of that. Thank you for that information now. But you know, then he would come and go, gentlemen, I don't know if you've noticed, they pushed the camera in and they've actually changed the lens on it. So in this shot you'll be pretty big, and it will actually require some pretty good acting. And we must get it before lunch, or there will be no lunch. And he walks out and everybody laughed, and then everybody nailed it, because we felt so respected and so focused by that it looks like we'll be having lunch after all. The Saturday work was looming, and you know, but he just kept everybody's spirits up that way. And so that's actually 2 anecdotes. That's one that precedes the one when he says, well, first of all, when they hand the gun to ancient kids, when Harrison gives you the gun, they scream at Harrison on the screen. They just, no, don't give it to him. So this is good. And I think when you go down with the plane down, this close to cheering for your demise. I think all we need is a scream as you're going down. I know, it sounds cheesy, but I want a 3-part scream. I've actually taken the liberty of putting my own voice in. You'll see, it's terrible. You'll have to replace it. And it was absolutely just hysterical. So he does it. And I do it, and I go, this is cheesy. It is a little cheesy. And because well, what's so great is you first reach up to grab him, and you miss. So that's the first part of the scream. It's, ah! And then there's a part where you to reach out, you're trying to grab him, and then you look up and you do this other thing where you kind of curse your fate. You curse the gods for this fate that's befalling you all of a sudden, and then you'll be falling, and then you're looking down, and then that's that third part of the scream. No, it's too much for me, but you do it better, and it's still. and we do it, and I try to make it as real as I can. He says, no, don't worry, playing all the music and the crashing sounds of the waves. You'll never hear. And I actually have friends that came up to me after singing, did we like screaming from miles away? Like, did I hear you screaming on the plane? Like, yeah, you did. We don't need to talk about that.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome. I feel like I'm inside the actor's studio.
I know. I was kind of wanting to call that up the actor's dress. He got a little too. No, that show always killed me. I didn't actually say dress. I said a part of the actor's butt. You know, is what I used to call it. I just thought he was just shameless in the way in which he would butter them actors up. And can we cut that part of this? It's live! Oh my God, it's live! I guess I'll never get on that show.
Well, Xander, thank you. I do want to say too, you and I share something in common, which is almost common really, but our birthdays. So yes, your birthday is December 16th and mine's the 15th. So
Oh, the 15th.
Yes.
So you don't get to share it with Ludwig van Beethoven or Noel Coward. Oh well.
So sorry.
Did I talk too much so we don't get to talk about the Maestro?
Yeah, I know. You just kind of like took it over. Oh, you can say something about it.
What about the movie?
Yeah.
Oh my
you need
God!
You need to say
I
something.
just get into these situations where I'm just telling stories.
I know.
The Maestro is is my favorite part I've ever gotten to play. I've played bad guys and shit heels from all the way back, and this is a beautiful, inspiring mentor, and he is Mario Castelnuovo Tedesco was a teacher and who practiced his craft at the highest level as well as a composer for film. But he taught Henry Mancini, he taught John Williams, he taught Randy Newman, he taught Andre Previn, he taught Jerry Goldsmith, all of whom, and others in combination, are 20th century film composition and will be effectively, inspiring people all throughout the 21st century and beyond. And his gift was to allow people to bring out their voice. He didn't project his ideas like so many teachers do onto a student. He allowed the student to hear the voice that was unique and inherent within them and gave them the ability to allow it to come out. And and it's also a story about the artist's journey and their struggle. The whole concept of what it is to, do I have it? What is it? And what am I willing to sacrifice? What is it worth? All the aspects of that nebulous, ineffable it that being an artist entails. And it's just, you don't get to see a movie about that very often, and about somebody that doesn't, maybe it's not clear for them. And it's just a beautiful film and a beautiful story that we got to tell, and I'm really delighted and honored to be here in Sedona to share it with people, and in general to be on the road with it. I fully support it, and I'm sorry if I was overly indulgent in my anecdotal tale. I'm an entertainer at heart, carried away.
Well, it was very well received. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for being in Sedona and being part of the festival. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I'm sorry I didn't get to all your questions.
That's okay. No, you answered almost everything. I didn't get to flirt. That was the thing that I was kind of upset
It's
about.
time, Carol. Okay, cut. Let's wrap.
And we'll be back with more from the Sedona International Film Festival after this.